in-studio conversation on matters politics and governance. Joining me in studio, the best minds on TV tonight, seasoned legislators, and I dare say we're turning KTN Prime to the upper house tonight. I'm joined by two senators. Allow me to introduce them. Dr. Danson Mungatana, the senator for Tana River County. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante sana.
It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Watu wa Tana River wakoaje?
Hawana shida.
Nice.
Tuko na hii mambo ya njaa imekuja. But we are fine otherwise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's noted. Equally joined by the senator of Murang'a County, Joe Nyutu. Asante sana. Welcome to our show. I think it's the first time I'm hosting you. Karibu sana.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I've not been to this studio, but I've been to KTN before.
Yes.
But you have not hosted me before. It's my pleasure to be here tonight.
Asante. Looking forward to solid deliberations and discussions right here. And we're having this interview at a time when the country is marking the unfortunate demise of the Emurua Dikir Member of Parliament, Johana Ng'eno, the late, and 5 others who succumbed in a chopper crash in Mosop, Nandi County over the weekend. And it would be proper to start as you convey your heartfelt condolence to the family and the constituents of Emurua Dikir. And perhaps as you recall from your interactions in Parliament with the late legislator, what exactly stands out from your interactions with the fiery legislator as he has been described? We can start with you, Senator Mungatana.
So I was actually in South Africa for a session on the budget for Pan-African Parliament when the news came, and I was so shocked because this gentleman had been to Tana River, and he came when we were at that time struggling with the issues of the affordable housing, and they were doing public participation. So when he came, we organized the people to come and, the normal public participation thing, and afterwards we were socializing. And he insisted that he wanted to see where the crocodiles are in Tana River. So I took him to the river, and we were telling him, Mheshimiwa plus the other Waheshimiwas, we want you to cross over to the other side. Please just enter the canoe. You won't die. I said, no. I said, no, it's the big part of the river where you cross over to the other side and you have the shambas there. And he totally refused. So I told him, chairman, he was a chairman at that time of, of that committee. I said, Chairman Bana, you are a strong man, you are a fearless man, what's happening? I said, apana mambo ya crocodiles usiniweke hapo. So we had a good time with him. And here in Nairobi, meeting in parliamentary corridors, he was such a good man, jovial character. I want to take this opportunity to say pole sana to the people of Emurua Dikir. You have lost a great man, a very good, jovial legislator, a person who worked across party lines, across the divide, a happy man. And it's sad, but huwa tunasema Kiswahili, kesi ya Mungu haina appeal. So we just pray for you and comfort you. He had a young family that's even very tough to understand, but God is God. So we as Christians, we say in all circumstances, you give thanks. So as difficult as it is, we just give thanks and ask God to give you the protection and the comfort in this difficult time.
Indeed, and we've seen some progress in terms of the planning of the funeral. It's set for Friday this week. Nyutu, what's your fondest recollection from your interactions with the late legislator?
Thank you, Jesse. I think I joined my colleague, Senator Mungatana, and other leaders, and of course wananchi, in passing my deepest condolences to the family of the late Honorable Johana Ng'eno, and to the people of Emurua Dikir, whom he served with a lot of dedication. And it will be remembered that Johana Ng'eno was one of the most courageous leaders of our times, and that is what I wrote on the Senate business page. one of the most courageous leaders of our time. Remember, this is a leader whom, even though he came from the same community with the president, at one point in time, when he thought that his people were not receiving the best from the president when he was deputy president, he came out to condemn him because he was courageous. The other thing with Honorable Ng'eno is that he was a very humorous man, and he was always smiling, and he had a way of, communicating with people, where he would fuse, funny stories and funny words into, some very serious business to deliver his message. And it's sad, but we must also call on those that are investigating the cause of the accident to do it in a way that will satisfy all Kenyans who may be having questions, but basically the family and the people of Emurua Dikir. Of course, we do not want to, to raise any suspicions or anything, but because we know that sometimes accidents, especially aircraft accidents, sometimes are not, purely accidents. And I'm not saying that it was not a pure accident, but I think it's important that investigations be carried out in a way that to reveal the real cause of that crash. And I say that because the pilot was a very experienced pilot, and although the weather was not favorable, I believe that pilot was capable of navigating through that weather. So in conclusion, let investigation be done in a free and fair way, and Kenyans will be awaiting, or will be waiting for the results of or the findings of the investigation. Otherwise, for now, we say rest in peace, Johana Ng'eno.
And I know you don't speak for them, Nyutu, but do you find fault in some of your colleagues from the United Opposition, perhaps, for lack of a better word, politicizing this particular death of the late Ng'eno?
Well, I think, Ng'eno was a politician.
Yeah.
And it is hard not to politicize this death because sometimes, and we are saying this, we do not want to mention other people that have perished in aircraft accidents because we may not want to open up wounds that have healed in the families. But we know that we have been told that you remember the accident that happened in 2010, killing one minister, interior minister at that time, and his, and his assistant minister. And it was said that there are things we were told, but when the bodies were, inspected, they had this, but they were calling it, I think, a discoloration, something, showing that there was something that had happened to them before the actual crash. So when it happens like that, then we cannot just let it pass as just another aircraft accident, because this is a politician, and it's a politician that was standing with his people. And remember, there was this particular incident where the several members of his constituents were killed by people who want to grab land in that particular constituency. And matters land sometimes, and land has caused death to many people. And so that is why people are afraid, or people could be suspicious that maybe it had something to do with what he was fighting for, especially against land grabbing. So I don't think anybody in the United Opposition has, said that it was actually, made to happen. But I think what I have heard them say, including my party leader, Rigathi Gachagua, is that investigations should be done by an independent body, because, of course, we do not want, local investigators who can be compromised, especially if those that could have been involved, if at all, are people who are powerful in government. So they're just calling for independent investigations, just to be sure that this death had no political, no political line to it.
Okay.
So I think they are quite, if you ask me, they are quite in order. They are quite within their rights to demand that investigations be done in a fair manner, to see to it that any suspicion, or to clear any suspicion that could be there with the family and the constituents and other Kenyans in general.
Well, the investigations are going, and as members of the Fourth Estate, we'll keep you updated on the findings.
But can I say something?
Yes, please.
I don't think the government would have any reason to, want to deal badly with the chair of the finance who helped us to pass the affordable housing law. I think sometimes politics must take a backseat. We are mourning. A responsible leader should weigh his words when a nation is mourning. The disunited opposition, as usual, lacks agenda. And because they lack agenda, they jump at everything and anything. I keep saying again and again, learn from the best. Honorable Mwai Kibaki was in the opposition for a long time. And he was very careful with what he says. And I urge people that we didn't start opposition today. We have been in this space before. There are times for politics, and there are times when it is not wise to politic. If you read the Bible, it tells you there is a season and time for everything. Right now, we are mourning the honorable member of Emuru Adikir, Mheshimiwa Johana Ng'eno, whom we loved. And it's so sad when you see a leader taking a microphone, using a platform, not to bring people together, not to tell Kenyans, let's be together and give dignified send-off, but to start casting aspersions, saying this and that. The disunited opposition, I pray that they will create an agenda that they can pursue and learn from the best. We've been in that space before. When I came into government at the time, we were in NAC Rainbow. We were the guys who were in the opposition. And we didn't do some of these stunts that, please spare us some of these things. Let's build the nation. The nation is not the government. And that's why the opposition must be loyal. In the UK, they say it's the loyal opposition. In the US, they say it's the minority government, which means you are loyal to the state. So there are things that are beyond the politics. It's the state. And when you are talking about the state, then you have to rise above the normal squabbling that is there. So this is such an occasion. Let us just leave it to God and focus the nation in mourning. And we pass this difficult time.
Definitely. We expect the burial to take place on Friday, 6th March. Before that, there'll be a requiem mass held on Wednesday at Nairobi Baptist Church and a night vigil held on Thursday in line with Kipsigis traditions. We'll keep you updated on that front. Now let's talk politics, gentlemen, because just last week we saw mini polls that were held across the country. Actually, 4 electoral areas were going for by-elections, and the United Democratic Alliance, UDA, emerged victorious, sweeping all 4 seats that were up for grabs. And according to UDA insiders, this is a clear indication that the UDA's popularity is not waning in any way, shape, or form. I'd like to start with you, Nyutu, because the opposition distanced itself from this by-elections, saying they're focused on removing President William Ruto, and some of these minor seats are not in contention for them, Some might argue that it sounds like sore losers, focusing on what is coming and not focusing on what was already there. But what would you say led to the losses that were recorded by the united opposition? And why are you pushing for reforms at IEBC? Why is that a priority?
Thank you, Jesse. But before I come to that question, I think allow me to respond to Senator Mungatana's comments. We started very well, but My friend and colleague has taken a route that, if you ask me, was actually not necessary. You know, to say that the opposition is disunited, I don't know what Senator Mugatana calls unity. Because he supports government, he should be happy if the opposition were going to be disunited. But Senator Mugatana, being a lawyer, cannot say that anybody calling for fair, independent investigations on a death of somebody who is known to have opposed grabbing of, you know, a large tract of land, that anybody calling for investigations to that death, that person is disunited, has no agenda, it is time to mourn. Come on, Senator Mugatana cannot be serious when he says that we should not question, we should just bury Johana Ng'eno, we should not actually even do any investigations according to Senator Mugatana, because it's God's will. I mean, there are many deaths, Jesse, that have happened in this country because somebody was standing between some land that was going to be grabbed by somebody. So actually, I think Senator Mugatana is very unfair to the late Johana Ng'eno, because we are just saying, nobody has said that he was killed, but we are saying, let independent investigations be carried out. When he says that it's a shame for a leader to take a microphone and say that, then that leaves me wondering what Senator Mugatana thinks are, you know, are rights of citizens. We are just saying, investigate this death, investigate this particular crash, I mean, and see whether it has any leaning towards what Johana Ng'eno was fighting for. You cannot tell somebody that is asking for fair, independent investigations on that crash, as somebody who has no agenda, disunited opposition. But I know Senator Mugatana has some very deep hatred for Rigathi Gachagua, and I'm asking him, the other day I met him in another media house, and I told him,
that is unfortunate.
And I told him that, you know, nobody is liked by everybody. He has his right to hate Rigathi Gachagua, but he will not take away the support that Rigathi Gachagua has of people in millions. So let us be fair. Let us be fair, even in our assessment of leaders and their comments. But now coming to your question about the very, you know, if you ask me, insignificant win by UDA. In fact, I didn't know until yesterday. I was asked by somebody. I didn't know that there were any by-elections, because, I mean, these were neither here nor there. And you know, we decided that when you realize that you are competing with somebody who wants to compete against themselves, then you would rather not, compete with them. And, that is what happened. This is not new. It happened in 2017 when the Supreme Court cancelled the win of Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. The late Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga decided not to participate in the ensuing a repeat election. And so sometimes you assess and you find that you'll be wasting, your time and resources on insignificant, pursuits while you have greater pursuits.
But didn't you have candidates? Didn't DP have candidates in some of these areas? So were they set up for failure? What are you saying right now?
Well, Jesse,
yes.
What this government is doing is basically using or, spending, enormous amounts of money to just win some very, insignificant seats, if you ask me. So sometimes it's actually not important for us, because our goal is to unseat William Ruto. We do not want to spend any more resources or time and energy on some insignificant, and I know I've used that word so many times this evening, insignificant seats. Because anyway, what is happening, there's a lot of bribery. That is what we realized. There's a lot of intimidation by government, as in transferring the whole government to a particular electoral area just to win a seat. I mean, if you are to be told what happened in Bere, I mean, during the parliamentary by-election, I mean, it was not worth it. The government spent a lot of money. Basically, government had been transferred there. All the CSs were there. All the PSs were there. Everything. It was like the country was on a standstill. We do not want to engage in such because, you know, we know that we are waiting for a general election, which will be different because the general election will be held in 290 constituencies. So government will not concentrate on one particular area. Of course, the government has a big financial muscle. It has, you know, government machinery and everything. And when it is transferred to a particular area, then of course, you'll be hitting your head against a wall, which is not necessary for me. So we decided to just, that's why you never saw us campaigning in those areas.
Can I say something?
Sure, of course.
There's I come from the coast, and there's a beautiful saying that says, asiyekubali kushindwa si mshindani. There's 4-0. We went into a game of soccer, and there's 4-0. And the other guy put in a team, they put on uniform, they put on boots. After the game, they say, you are not interested. Surely, Kenyans are not jokers. Kenyans can see that the disunited opposition has no agenda, has no plan. It just stands on top of vehicles spewing hate. You know, one term, then what? There's nothing they communicate in terms of policy. There's nothing they communicate in terms of agenda. That if we took government today, this is what we are going to do. They don't have anything. And the disunited opposition continues in this direction. They are disunited, disorganized. They have no idea of what is happening in the grassroots. Me, I'm telling you today in my office, I am the senator of Tana River County. But today I spent an enormous amount of time discussing the upcoming grassroots elections, which we have had to adjust because of the passing away of the Honorable Johana Ng'eno.
Yes.
And UDA is planning at the polling center, at the polling station. This is what we are doing, and this is what we are doing, and this is what we are planning. So we are planned, we are organized, we have an agenda, we have delivered part of that agenda, and we want to go on, and we are telling the people of Kenya, we have a candidate, we have a deputy, we have a president, a deputy president, we have a plan that we want to deliver on. The other guys are just talking. And when they lose, they stand up now looking for excuses. Oh, this game, we didn't participate. How are you not participating? You are in a soccer game. You went there, you put on uniform. You are there was a referee, you know. You paid the referees, you paid participation fees, you are in that game, and then when you lose, you say, I was not interested in that game. I mean, give us a break. So this is what is just a beginning of the test of what is going to happen in 2027. Unless the disunited opposition learns that politics is not yelling, politics is organizing, they are going to lose and lose badly. And after that, they will probably learn how to be in opposition and to plan. Because we used to be in the National Rainbow Coalition, we planned and we succeeded. These people are not united, they don't have a candidate, they don't have a plan for Kenya. All they do is to excite emotions, and then after that they retreat to their rooms again, thinking, oh, what next is going to happen so that we can get the crowds clapping one time. But they don't have an agenda. You cannot run opposition like that. Right. Even me, as Mungatana, I would want a good opposition because it helps us to improve the country. The winners are the population. But if you have a disunited opposition, agendaless opposition, and resourced and planned, you are losing even in your polling station, polling center. I mean, my village where I vote, I lose.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, how is that? And you say you are a principal.
So when you hear claims of bribery, intimidation, that's far-fetched. You won this fair and square.
We won this election, my friend, because we were organized.
Okay.
We planned.
All right.
We had our teams, we had our agents, and we organized. And let me tell you, election winning is not just about the message you have. It's not just about the politics you do. It's about organization. If you don't organize, you will lose. That's how we won the presidential election. They were looking for where are the agents? Where are the agents? ODM was looking for agents. At that time, they were not with us. But I'm saying, you are in a presidential race. I mean, like in Tana River, we are in a presidential race, and there are no agents. No agents to make returns. So okay, you do the politics, but how about management of the election itself?
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
I think they should just accept that they lost and move on, plan, learn and plan.
Okay, and re-strategize. Well, we'll be listening from Nyutu right after this break. The bills have to be paid. Do stay with us. You're watching KTN Prime. We'll be back with the discussion in just but a few.